Hi, everyone, and welcome to Henry Walsh's Political Rant number 2. Now, this is again not a Let's Try. I'll get another one of those up soon. But today, whereas the last one was more comical, this one I want to be a little bit serious about because I've been seeing a lot of things lately that I just I don't know how rationally minded people are doing these things. Um, there will, of course, be funny statements up in the background for you to look at, and that's because I'm trying to make this a little lighthearted. First off, let's talk about. I think the worst thing that's been going on in our recent political atmosphere, and that's propaganda. Um, I'm not going to name any names of what networks are most responsible for this, but some of the stuff they've been saying has been pretty silly. Um, you know who you are, and I'll probably add it in on the backdrop so everyone else does too. But first of all, they reported earlier that there was a cut in the defense budget, a quote deep cut in the defense budget, and there wasn't. In fact, the defense budget went up by a very small percentage, but it went up, which is not a deep cut, not a cut at all. Um, People are saying, "Oh, they're getting rid of very important strategic defense initiatives." No, they're not. Come on, people. Yes, they stopped construction on the F-22 Raptor, and I love the F-22 Raptor. However, the F-22 Raptor was a little bit not necessary. It had a 10-to-1 kill ratio, and it's not like they're getting rid of the Raptors we already have. They're just stopping further production of these Raptors and going with Joint Strike Fighters. This will cause a loss of about 20,000 American jobs. However, due to the fact that they're now going with Joint Strike Fighters, this is going to create over 40,000 additional jobs over what the Raptors were doing, which means that it's actually better for the economy, better for the people, and overall smarter in general. People are kind of annoyed that they lost the quote laser plane end quote, but the fact was we didn't need it. The laser plane was untested, unfeasible, and was years and years away from development when we had much more conventional counters to those types of weapons that worked just as well. The big deal with the laser plane, for those of you who are wondering, who may have heard this being talked about, is the laser plane could shoot them before they got into the launch phase. Because when they're first launched, they're in phase 1, and then they have to go to stage 2. This could shoot them down before they got to stage 2. But let's face it, we have plenty of weaponry that's capable of taking them out during stage 2, so do we really need to take them out during stage 1? And do we really need, especially right now with our economy being the way it is, do we really need to spend $70 billion to do that? And the answer is no, we don't. Um, let's see, what else has been going on? Recently, people have been talking about these tea parties, and I don't understand this. First of all, they're claiming their slogan is "No taxation without representation," but they have representation. We have a government. Their political choice just isn't in power. So of course their interests aren't going to be the ones brought to the forefront. However, I mean, I'm sorry to the Republicans who are doing this and who are mad about this, but the fact is, you're not in power right now. And the Democrats are. And for a really long time, the Democrats were in your position. And when the Democrats were in your position, you told us to suck it up. You told us to shut up. You told us we have to support our government. And, we were un-American if we didn't support our government because we didn't support, at that point, the Republican agenda. And now that it's not the Republican agenda that the government's supporting, because it's now a Democratic government as opposed to a Democrat government as opposed to a Republican government, now it's okay to dissent? I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. You can't say calling for revolution is bad when it's your government, but when it's not your government in power, when it's not a Republican-controlled government, it's okay because it's not Republican-controlled. No, I'm sorry, you don't have that right. You do, but you're just hypocritical about it. Let's see, what else? What else are they saying? Oh, I heard a tax being launched against Jon Stewart, the guy from The Daily Show. Look, Jon Stewart's one of the most intelligent men on television, right next to maybe Bill Maher, okay? He really does know his stuff, and the fact is, everything he's been saying has been completely true, and people are calling him a communist? No, he's just pointing out the absurdity in what the Republican Party's been doing lately. Look, to the Republican Party, please. Let it go. I'm serious. Let it go. You lost the election. You lost Congress. Your interests are not going to be looked at seriously for 4 years. The Democrats haven't had their interests looked after for like 12. Okay? It's been 12 years since we had a strong Democratic leadership in our country. And now that we have it, you guys are all mad. Yeah, it kind of sucks to not have your interests looked after, but we've dealt with it, and now it's your turn. That's all there is to it. Also, everyone's claiming, oh, he's taxing the rich and taking away all of our money. It's a 3% raise, people. 3%. That's it. That 3% can really help the country because that 3% really is a lot of money. The fact was, you were giving tax cuts by Bush and by some other people, and now those tax cuts are being taken away, but they're cuts. It's not like he's punishing you. He's just putting you back to where you were supposed to be to begin with. And again, it's 3%. That's it. And it's not like it's not going to affect Democrats. There's no clause that says only Republicans are going to get taxed here. Everyone's going to get taxed. Okay, everyone who fits those criteria who got tax cuts. And it's not a big deal. It's 3%. That's it. It's 3%. Now, another thing that's going on that is just silly is the hypocrisy kind of on both sides. And I say this in all honesty. The fact is, the Republicans 8 years ago pulled things. They pulled just as much smarmy stuff that's going on now with the Democrats. Only back then, they said it was okay. And now that the Democrats are doing it, oh, suddenly it's wrong. Well, sorry. You did it first. You utilized processes to stop the filibuster of Democratic leadership and said, oh, well, that's democracy, the majority. Well, now the Democrats have the majority, and you're the minority. And now you're calling for revolution because you lost. That's like losing a game of baseball and then demanding the rules get changed. That's not cool. It's not good sportsmanship, and it's not very adult. And certain networks are egging this on and fanning the flames and making up lies. And it's not going to work, guys. We've seen through it. The Republican way is over, at least for now. Maybe in 4 years, you'll get a candidate up and you'll win an election or whatever, and things will kind of go back to what you want for the status quo, and that's cool. If it happens, and I'll support it because I support our government no matter who's in control. I supported it when Bush was in control, even though I completely disagreed with all of his policies. And even some people at Fox News, which I don't want to mention them by name, but even some people at Fox News told people during the Bush administration, if you call for revolution, you're being un-American. And now those same people at Fox News are telling people that they should, go revolution against Obama and against the democratically controlled and legally elected government. That's not cool, guys. That's really not cool. It's childish, it's close-minded, it's pig-headed, and it's hypocritical, and we can all see that. You're just hurting your own position. Anyway, that's my political rant for this week. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you again. Have a good night.